All right, all right, all right. How is everybody today?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello,
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to see you guys.
Nice to meet you.
So this is my wife holds these webinars like twice a week. She makes it look like so easy, but this is my first time ever doing something like this. So
Right on. Okay.
I think you're off to a good start.
Thank you. Just bear with me if I'm like fumbling around a little bit. But we're gonna get through this.
I haven't seen Kathy in so long. We know each other from the YMCA.
Oh yeah. She's got an online program now, and yeah, she's doing these webinars, as I say, like twice a week. So she just knocks them out like a pro. Like nothing phases her, you know. Like you could just put her on like national TV and she'd be like an iceberg. She'd just be like
she's great.
She's awesome. and I mean, we'll be talking a little bit about her today because her whole online business got started from doing her book. So that'll be part of what I'm sharing on. But so let me just do a quick summary of, see where you guys are at. So how many people here, you can put it in the chat or you can just put up your hands if you got your camera on. How many people here already have a book out? Okay. And how many people have an idea for a book or are in the middle of writing a book? Okay. And how many people here have read a book? All right, good. So at least there's something everybody's done here. But seriously, yeah, wherever you're at in your journey right now, you are in the right time at the right place. And what I'm going to be sharing with you today is definitely going to be fundamental. And, whether you're just in the planning stages, you're in the writing stages, or you've already gotten a book out and on Amazon, this is really going to help you to kind of solidify what you're doing and understand where you need to be doing in order to make it a success. So let me just make sure this thing is recording. I believe it is. It is. Okay. So let me just start. I'm just going to mute everybody for now, but feel free to unmute when it's appropriate. And okay, we do see we've got somebody here who's got finished a book but hasn't got it published yet. So this is going to be great for you, Ronti, as well. So first off, let me just acknowledge all of you, whether you're here live now or you're watching the replay, because you are already doing more than most people. A lot of people have a book, they're thinking about a book, they're talking about doing a book, but they're not really taking a lot of action on the book. So just showing up here today is putting yourself in action and taking a concrete step forward towards achieving that goal. And that's a fantastic step. So I salute you and acknowledge you. And I appreciate the time that you are choosing to spend here watching this with me, or whether it's live or on the replay. So a little bit about who I am. So my name's Preston Squire, and I've been publishing books since 2014. I published them under my own brand, and then I have a bunch of labels like Guiding Light Publishing, Dreams Come True Press, ESQ Comics for our comics line, Preston Squire Publishing Services, where I help other authors to self-publish their books. Or do consulting services. So over the years, I've helped quite a few authors to get their books out or to find some more success. But mostly, I've been focused on doing my own books and my wife's books. And so I'm going to do a little summary of, where we started and how we got to where we are now. Because when we started, we were doing about 30 books a month, which Isn't too bad. A lot of people would be very happy to be doing 30 books a month. And we're at a point now where we're selling 1,000 books a month on average. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more, but about 1,000 books a month we're selling right now. And that's a great result for independent publishing. And we're bringing in about 5,000 a month doing that. And so that's why you're here, because every time I put out a new book, I have all these authors coming to me. It's like, how are you doing? So I wanted to, do this and really, have something out there so people can see what we did, what our journey was, understand that, we made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, and, that's just part of the process. It's part of the process. And I know a lot of people are afraid to kind of get started because they don't know what to do or how to do it, or why is anyone going to listen to me, and don't worry about any of that stuff. It's never going to be perfect. Just get started. And it really came to me this morning. I just felt the Holy Spirit on me. I don't know how many people here are religious, but just I really felt the Spirit on me heavily this morning, just saying, and this is as true for me as anybody, is that, if you're here, if you're listening to this, is because there's a message that you've been given that the world is waiting for, right? You have something that the world needs to hear that's going to build up the kingdom, that's going to inspire people or help people or, do something, and it's been given to you. And I totally understand, and I'm guilty of this as any, and, I'm going to show you something that doesn't really help me, but it might help you, is that I started with my wife's books. So let me just start with that. So 2014, I had a nice government job. I got laid off. So now I'm looking to, how do I make some extra money? And somebody's who I was subscribed to had a course on how to make money on Amazon. And I had books that I was planning to do. So it's like, why not? So I took this course, and of course I've got books that I've been talking about, and I've got books I've been thinking about, and I've got books I've been working on for years, but I don't have any books that are finished. Can anyone relate? Can anyone relate with me here? Anybody's been working on a book for years, but never got it finished? That was me. But my wife, on the other hand, she's a little firecracker. She gets an idea, she does it, and it's done. And so she had an idea for a book. She just did it, sold a few copies to people in her church, and put it on a shelf and moved on to the next thing. And that was it. So she has this book on a shelf, and I'm going to show it to you. And I know there's a few people here from her tribe, so you'll get a kick out of this. So this was her original book that she did way back in 2008. So I took this book and we revised it a little bit, cleaned it up, and put it on Amazon, following what I'd learned in this course. And we found a bit of success because I did a few things right, following the teachings, and I did a few things wrong. And we're going to kind of look at that, what I did right and what I did wrong. But what I didn't do is, because I'm going to get back to this, what I didn't do is I didn't have my own books finished. And this is really what I'm feeling the Spirit's calling me to. Because, I had a children's book that the Lord had just given to me and poured onto my heart. And, so eventually I went back and I did it and I finished it. I put it on Amazon. And then you know what I did with it? I did this. I washed my hands of it. I said, okay, Lord, I put it out. I'm done. And I did nothing with it. And I went and I worked on my wife's books and I got her books out, but I didn't do anything with my books because I'm like, why is anyone going to listen to me? Why is anyone going to buy my books? Right? And if that's where you are at, the Lord's just put on my heart, it's like, you're here right now for a time such as this. And he brought to me, like, you know, when Moses was first at the burning bush, you know, and God's calling him to talk to his people, and Moses is like, I can't do it. I don't speak well. You got the wrong guy. You know, and we all know it's not about Moses. Some people think he's, you know, he may have had a stutter. It doesn't matter. It was never about him, right? It's about what God's given you to do, right? But we're doing that same thing where we're making it about us. We're making it about our shortcomings, about what our doubts, our fears, our concerns, what, you know, no one's going to listen to us, and it's not about us. If God's given you this to do, if this is on your heart to do, this is the time. There are people out there waiting for your message, the message that you've been given to do, right? And I'm going to, you know, keep this short. I wrote out a bunch of stuff this morning. I don't want to get all into it, but you know, it's not about being perfect. And you know, this is what's tripped me up, is that I always, you know, was editing my books forever, trying to get them perfect, and they're never going to be perfect. It's never going to be a perfect book. It's never going to be a perfect cover. It's never going to be a perfect anything. Done beats perfect. Having it out will beat having it perfect, and you can always improve on it as time goes by. So it's just a matter of just get it out there. If it's in your heart, make a commitment to yourself to just get it out there. Set a date. I'm going to have it done by this date. And this is what I've just done with a book that I'm currently working on right now, is I've committed to have it done by the end of this month, or my brand new piece of high quintament I just bought last month is gone. I have to sell it if I don't meet that commitment. And you can believe I just finished the first draft of the book yesterday. So it's getting done, but I had to do that kind of mind job on myself, because otherwise I'm going to forever procrastinate on it and not get it done. So, and that's partly why I'm here, because it's really on my heart to help other authors, especially Kingdom authors, that we need your message. We need your word. We need what you have. And it doesn't matter. There's a lot of other stuff out there. Whatever's on your heart has been given to you, right? For you to bring out, for you to give fruit to, for you to bless the kingdom with, and for you to inspire others with. So that's all I'm going to say with that. Now, let me get back to my story. So this was an original book, and this is what I put on Amazon. So not very professional, but this is where I started. And there was a couple of things that I did really well right here, which helped. And there was a bunch of things I did wrong. So the one thing that really helped here was the title, Weight Loss God's Way. And we're going to explain why that's so significant a little bit later into it. But briefly, it's clear. You know what the book is about immediately. You know if the book is something that's for you or not. The red is eye-catching. It had an eye-catching color scheme. And the image I used here kind of conveyed the emotional impact that I wanted the reader to associate to the book. So, and those are three key things, which we'll look at a bit more later on. But there was enough going on here, I was able to get sales. Pretty much everything else I did wrong, but I had enough going right here that I was able to get some sales. And in those early days, so it's 2014, and I'm using some sales hacks to get sales going for this book. So we're doing free promotions and 99-cent promotions. And, you know, when I'm doing a promotion, we'd sell 100 copies of the book. And when I'm not doing a promotion, we'd sell 30. And so I did that for a while. And, you know, although it was a level of success, it wasn't enough. And I was focused on helping my wife with her business. And I'll briefly touch on that, because with the success of this book, she was able to start her own online business based on this book. And she's gone on to create, multiple six-figure income now from starting from this. So that's 2014. At the end of 2014, I got a job and started working again. So the books got pushed into the background, still working on it a little bit, but it was background stuff. In 2015, we put out our second book, which was a cookbook. 2017, we put out our third book, which was this one, which is kind of ugly, I'll say, by today's standards, by my own standards now. But we got this out. And then we put out 2019, the beginning of 2019, we put out our fourth book, which was this one. And this we're going to look at because this is a textbook example of everything wrong. I did everything wrong with this one because, I wasn't really focused. I was working my full-time job. I was helping my wife with her online business. I wasn't really focused on what I was doing here, and I wasn't applying the principles that I'd learned. And, throughout that time, although we started okay, and we had 4 books out now, sales were drifting down. Every month, the sales are just kind of ebbing off. And finally, I said, okay, enough is enough, and I got, myself back in the saddle, so to speak, really started learning, okay, what do I need to do? What does, I need to do to really have success on Amazon? Started taking a bunch of courses and really got serious about it. So let me show you what the result of that was. So this was the book when we started, Weight Loss God's Way. I did update it once in between. So we moved to this cover, which sold a little bit better. But in 2019, once I got serious, I got a professional cover done by a professional cover designer. I did SEO, which I'm going to explain in a little bit. I got this award put on it. And this tripled the sales of this book overnight, just like that. So that was a huge success. So I continued with it. So from this book, which is the one where I said I got everything wrong, and we'll take a quick look at it here. So, and you guys, type in the chats here, what, you think of this. So the title here is Receiving God's Love. What's this book about? Thank you. Someone says it looks nice. I got this cover done by a fat guy on Fiverr, which I'll talk a little bit about. It's about God's love, yes, which is good. But would anything about this cover tell you that this is a devotional on how to lose weight? No, nothing. So people who are trying to lose weight, they're never looking at this book. And people who are looking at this book goes, oh, something about God's love. They look at it and they go, it's about weight loss. And they're not buying it. So when I first put this book out, we were selling like 2 copies a month. And so I got serious and it's like, okay, so what are the things that I need to be doing? Right. And there's 4 kind of key secrets that I'm going to go through with you guys that really make a big difference between a book that sells a little bit and a book that will sell consistently. And the title is a big one. So, and the cover is another one. And so we went from this to this. Love God, lose weight. The title now is clear. As soon as you see it, you understand exactly what the book's about. It's a much more professional cover design. I've got a lot of SEO in the subtitle here. This book increased in sales 3,500%. Yes, you heard that right. 3,500% increase in sales, percentage-wise. In numbers, it went from 2 a month to over 70 a month. So a fantastic result with that. And the third book that we did, so again, renamed it to something that was much more, clear and understanding, professional design, better SEO here, and that increased 600% in sales. So, and from there, then I really started to see, getting excited and taking it seriously and just learning everything I could about, what does it take to, really achieve success. So we've just been increasing our sales about 30% year over year, partly because we're adding new books, and partly just because I continue to gain better understanding and tweak what I'm doing and make changes. And, so really, I just wanted to share what I'm doing with you so that, you can have a better understanding of how this all works. So I'm going to go into my presentation now. We're going to look at the 4 keys that really are going to make a difference in your book. So if you're just in the planning stages or the writing stages, or whether you got a book out now already, this is really going to help you to really turn sales around. Share screen. Here we go. Okay, so can everyone see my screen? Yes? Okay. So, okay, so yes, I already said this, the world needs your message. It's time to get it out. And that's why we're here. Writers Live Twice by Natalie Goldberg. So basically we live our day-to-day lives and we're reliving through our books and touching the lives of others as well. I've covered who I am. So here are the 4 things: finding your fans, a terrific title, a compelling cover, and marketing. And I'm going to show you just, how to keep it simple, because I know marketing is one thing that most authors hate. And it really doesn't have to be a grind. You don't have to be screaming, for people to buy your books. And in fact, that just won't work. So I'll talk a little bit about simply marketing that anyone can do that's really going to make a big difference in getting your book in front of the right people. So the first one is finding your fans. And so if you're just writing your book now, or you're planning your book now, or you got your book out, but you need to not really getting a lot of success, reflect on this one. Is you need to be writing to somebody in particular. We all want to, we all think, let me write a book that's going to appeal as many people as possible, make it as broad as possible, so that it'll sell to as more people, right? If you write it, general book for everybody, then everybody will buy your book, right? No, they won't. Back 20 years ago, when we had the old publishing message where you would write a book and you would send it to a book publisher, and the book publisher would sell it to the bookstore, the bookstores wanted general. That's not the case anymore. Amazon has completely shifted the dynamic and democratized the process. You're not selling books to book publishers, and you're not selling books to bookstores. You are selling books to the end user. It's going straight from you to them. And people want books that they want, right? People want books that talk to what they need if it's a nonfiction, or is about what they like if it's a fiction book, right? So you want to narrow down who you're talking to as much as you can. Because when you go wide, if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to no one. And the broader your book is, the broader the subject or the more generic it is, the more you're lost in the 30+ million books that are on Amazon right now. So, you're really best served, and your readers are best served if you can narrow down who is that person who you're talking to. So the first point here is identify your audience, right? Who is that ideal reader? And when you're writing, you want to be writing as if you're talking to that person, you know, whether it's a nonfiction or a fiction, you know, you want to have that person in mind and just write for them, right? And then find your niche. Like, what is your niche? And let me give you an example of your, you know, the niche. So let's say you do romance books, right? If you just did a generic romance book, there's probably like 8 million of those on Amazon now. And you're competing with all of them. And unless there is something fantastic about your particular romance book, why is anyone ever going to read it? When there's better established authors and book lines already out there. So, you know, you have to think, okay, so aside from romance, sure, you can write a romance book, absolutely. But are there other things do you like? Maybe you like Western. Okay, great. So now it's a romance book set in the West. You know, do you want to make it historical and bring in real people? Or maybe, you know, that requires too much research. That's fine. Then you just, you know, keep it more fictional. And if you like to put in a bit of humor, great. So now it's a, you know, humorous Western romance, and you can niche it down even a little bit more and say, you know what else? I like werewolves. I'm going to put a werewolf in this book. Why not? She's going to fall in love with a werewolf. And so now it's a supernatural Western comedy romance book. And that is a great niche because there is not a lot of books there, and there are people who will enjoy that. And now you're thinking, well, how many books am I going to sell? I'm only going to sell a few little books. No, you'll sell a lot because you will now be the big fish in this small pond. And once you get books selling, other people will find it. The problem is we go the other way. We go broad, and then we're not selling any books, right? So it's better you zoom in, try and narrow it down as much as you can, find your dot, you know, that specific spot where this, you know, you love this particular genre, you know, or if it's nonfiction, your particular area of excellence, and just zero in on that. This is what I did right with Weight Loss God's Way, is that when we put it out, Christian weight loss, there was like 24 books out there. There was Gwen Shambling, who some people may know because unfortunately she was in a plane crash, so she's had a bit of coverage. And Joyce Myers had a couple books out about it, and there was a few other authors, but it was a very small niche when we started, so it was easy to get noticed in that niche. Now there's over 200 books in that particular niche. But you know, at this point, we've established ourselves as one of the leaders in that category. But yeah, you want to kind of, you know, don't be afraid to niche it down. Don't be afraid to get as specific as possible, because the more specific it is, you know, you're going to be writing to that person. It really influences the writing that you're doing. Plus, when you're marketing, you know exactly who you're marketing to. You're not marketing to everybody. You're marketing to these particular people, you know. And, you know, again, going back to my wife's book, you know, so when we started, it was Christian people, you know, Christians looking to lose weight. And as she kind of got going and started to understand her market more, it was like 95% women. So she's like, you know what? I'm not even going to talk to the men. I'm just focusing on women. So now it was specifically Christian women looking to lose weight. And as she went on, she kind of narrowed it down anymore. And it's like, okay, I'm looking for mature Christian women looking to lose weight. And that's her niche. And that's who she talks to when she's writing her books and everything she does. That's who she's aiming at. Now, we do get young women buying her books. We get men buying her books. We get other people buying the books, but they're buying the books because it's already selling. So, and I'm going to have some, if anybody has questions or anything, I'm going to have a Q&A section afterwards. So I'll be happy to answer things like that. I see somebody's asking about SEO, and I'm going to be talking about that just now, because the second point is creating a terrific title. And what do I mean by that? So of course, the title of the book, there's two parts of it. There is the title itself, and then there's a subtitle. So just trying to look for a good example here for you, but going back to this one. So Love God, Lose Weight is the title. And then all of this here is the subtitle. Now, you would think normally you'd have to keep your subtitle to just a few words. You don't actually. And because you're going to be selling the vast majority of your books on Amazon, even if you're going through a traditional publisher, you're going to be selling the vast majority of your books on Amazon. More is better, because the more you have here, the more opportunity you have for SEO. And I'm going to explain that in just a minute. But the first thing I want to talk about is this thing that's always been true for titles, is your title has to have a hook, right? It's got to have something that kind of catches somebody's attention and makes them say, what's that? You know, and want to know a little bit more. And it doesn't have to be anything, you know, super genius, but just something that kind of catches them a little bit, you know. And I've seen one of our contemporaries, her book is just called Full, and that's it. That's the title, Full, right? But, you know, it's in the weight loss space. So people are like, full. Oh, how do I feel full? Like, you know, and then they read the subtitle and they get the context of what it means. So generally the title should be short and catchy. If it conveys what the book is about, that is ideal, but it doesn't necessarily have to, because you can do that in the subtitle, but best if it's in the title. The subtitle, though, definitely you want to let them know what this book is about. And that's where we get into this next point, is clarity. One of the biggest mistakes I see authors make is that they have some great hook title, but people don't know what the book is about. And this is a good example, you know, Receiving God's Love. It's a nice title, but people didn't know what the book is about. And when they knew what the book was about, it wasn't what they were looking for. Right? So you have to tell people, you know, what is the book is about. You have to make it clear in the title, you know, so people understand what it's about and if it's for them. And this is really where, if you understand who your audience is, this, particularly the subtitle, should speak specifically to them. It should really kind of, you know, figuratively hit them on the head and say, this is what you're looking for, whether it's a nonfiction book, and you're like, I'm going to solve this pain point that you have, or it's a fiction book where, you know, and some authors now, you will see, they'll say, you know, Christian supernatural Western comedy for, you know, with a few more adjectives in there. They're just spelling it out straight, because they know that when people are searching for a book, they're going to see it. They're going to see the, you know, the catchy title. They're going to see, oh, this is exactly the type of book that I like, you know. So, you know, that's what you need. And then the third point here is SEO. So for those of you who may not know, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Basically what that means is you type something in on Google, Google's going to search for something to match what you typed. So anything that matches what you typed is search engine optimized. And Amazon is just a search engine. And this is why it's such a huge shift from the old days when all the books were in a bookstore. Because back in those days, you'd go into a bookstore, it would be a lot of general books, you would see just the spine of them. And so this catchy title was all important, because that's all you saw, most books. Nowadays, people are typing into Amazon exactly what they're looking for, right? So you're not going into, you know, people don't go onto Amazon and search romance. They go onto Amazon and search exactly the kind of romance that they want, right? because they're looking for them. They know what they want. They already know what they're interested in. So they go right to that, right? So you need to understand who's your audience is and what are they looking for. And then make sure you capture some of that here in your subtitle or in your title, right? So right here, like in this title, weight loss, right? Or lose weight in this case, right? People are going to be typing that in, book on how to lose weight. Boom. It's got to match, right? So you want to match some of those search terms that people are searching for. And the simplest way to do it is, you know, just when you're on Amazon, go to Amazon and think to yourself, okay, this is the type of book that I'm writing. If I was searching for this kind of book, how would I type it in? Right? So if it's a nonfiction book, you would probably type in how to lose weight, or how to fix a broken fridge, or how to, you know, let the guy in my workplace know I like him, or, you know, something, whatever it is that you're looking for, you know. And if it's a fiction book, then you're going to just type in, you know, science fiction war, right? Or space saga, or, you know, Western romance, or whatever that you really like. So as you're typing that in, though, you will see Amazon drops down automatically. It just drops down all these search terms. And these are very common search terms, right? The higher up it is, the more common it is. So as you're typing it in, watch what comes up, because Amazon's telling you what people are searching for, right? They're giving you that information. So, you know, and just brainstorms, try and think of like 10 different ways you might possibly look for the book that you're writing, and see what Amazon comes up. And then, you know, the ones that you see near the top, you know, okay, these are the things that people are, how they're going to be searching for it. How do I capture some of that in my title? How do I get some of that, what they're putting in here? Because that's really going to make a huge difference on where your book shows up when people do those searches. So the third thing is a compelling cover. And this is another thing I see a lot of authors do wrong, is they go cheap on the covers, or they make it themselves, or, you know, they do what I did, is they just, you know, well, this was a Fiverr cover. My first one, I actually made it myself. And yeah, going from a cheaply designed cover to a professionally designed cover, 3,500% increase in sales. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. Invest in a good cover. But you have to also understand the other factors that make a good cover as well. So not only does it need to look professional, and, you know, professional definitely counts, because if you think about it, if you go into, you know, a restaurant and all the signage looks like they just drew it themselves, and, you know, it's all hand drawn, and not like in a cool way, just like sloppy, and they're all dressed in their skivvies, and you can see the cook in the back scratching his belly and stuff. Are you going to eat there? Probably not. You're probably going to be, this place looks a little too homegrown. You're already imagining what that food's going to taste like. You're already imagining what that service is going to be like. And you're like, let me check out the place next door, right? And it's the exact same thing with books, right? There's the old cliche, don't judge a book by a cover. We all do. Everybody does. It's human nature. As soon as you see that cover, you are making some snap judgment as to what that book is about. And so if the cover doesn't look professional, people are going to pass it on. And the thing you need to remember is that your book isn't showing up in isolation on Amazon. People are doing a search. It's coming up in a list with a bunch of other books. So if there are other books where the title is clearer, where it's more eye appealing, and it looks more professional, that's what they're going to first. So you have to have it, you know, it has to look professional. It has to look clear. It has to be easy to read. And this is a mistake a lot of people make. And you can see it. And if you go on to Amazon and, you know, do a search and keep going, page 2, 3, 4, 5, get down to like page 10 and stuff, and you're going to see this all over the place. They use fancy script. They use, you know, a thin font or a font in a color that almost blends into parts of the background. And anytime, if you cannot immediately read that, and I mean immediately read that cover, you're looking at the next book. Your eye just goes to the next book on that list. You only have their attention for a fraction of a second. If they cannot immediately read your title, you've lost them. So your title has to be clear. Make no compromises on it. And even some professional designers, sometimes they'll, like, for design aesthetic, right? They'll use a font that's not that clear to read, or they'll, you know, make some of these mistakes, and you have to say, no, it's got to be clear. And it's even got to be clear when it's tiny, because when people do a search, you know, it's coming up with a stack of images. Your image is only going to be this small. The title, at least the main title, has to be fully readable at this size. So, you know, you got to give it enough real estate and clarity that people will read it. You can read it even when it's small. And the last thing is, like a hook on a title, you know, having a title of your book that kind of grabs attention, the imagery should grab attention. It should be pleasing to the eye, and it should be, you know, have just a little something to pull your eye towards it, right? You don't want to be too dark. You don't want to be too bland. You know, it's got to have just a little bit of pizzazz to it. You know, a little bit of color. I mean, this is simple. It's basically a white book, but, you know, the font, just this little bit of color on the white, you know, with her here is enough to pull your eye to it, right? So don't go the other extreme. Don't go like crazy making something really busy, because that's no good either. Keep it simple, but, you know, it's got to be pleasing and eye-catching to draw people's eyes to it. And the last thing, which I didn't put down here, but it's also important, is study your genre. Look at other books in your genre, whether it's nonfiction or fiction. Look at the other books, your competition, and see if you see some commonalities to it. You know, so if you look at romance books, or if you look at science fiction books, or if you look at, you know, nonfiction books of a certain type, you will often notice they use a similar kind of font, similar kind of cover scheme, and similar kind of imagery. So if I say, you know, what's a romance book look like, pretty much everybody can say, well, there's a guy and a girl, and, you know, you can immediately picture what a romance book is going to look like. But you would be surprised how many people don't follow the genre kind of etiquette. If your book doesn't look like other books in its genre, then people are going to pass over it, because readers know what their genre looks like. They know what that kind of book looks like, because they buy them all the time. So you don't have to look exactly like it. And in fact, but you just have to look enough that it speaks to your audience, that the audience says, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, and then so why are all these three things important, right? When somebody does a search, there's three key things Amazon is looking for, and how it decides what it shows them. How much does it match the title? How much does it match the metadata? And so quickly, metadata is you can put in other terms that nobody sees, just Amazon, that you tell Amazon, if somebody's looking for this, show my book. So it looks for match to the title, match to the metadata. And the third thing that people don't realize is Amazon looks at the sales data. So somebody could put in, a title. So if somebody said, they're looking for this one and they put in, for example, God lose weight, 80% match to my title. If this book hasn't sold in the last months, it's not showing up on the first page. Amazon's going to say, I don't think people are looking for that. They don't buy that very often. They buy these books, and it's showing the books that people buy regularly, right? And you need to be on that first page. You need to be on the first page of books that people bring up, because how often do you go to the second page? Right? Not often. Not unless you're like the first page of the bust. Almost certainly you're clicking on one or two books on that first page and they're gone. You're like, this is pretty good. I'm buying this. You never get to the second page. So you got to get your book on that first page. So how do you do that? If you don't have sales already, how do you do that? And that's number 4. Is you got to invest in a little bit of marketing. And now I'm not talking Facebook ads. I'm not talking screaming at people. And I'm not talking about really going out of your comfort zone. You don't have to do any of that, because I don't do any of that. But what I do is use the tools Amazon gives me. And those are using the Amazon ads. Now, the Amazon ads are an effective way to sell books. And particularly, it's an effective way to get your ad on that front page. So when somebody searches for a book like yours, your book is coming up on that first page. And why is that important? Well, one, of course, so people can find your book. If nobody ever sees your book, no one's ever buying your book. And I don't know about you, but if I write a book, I would like people to read it. I mean, it's nice to write the book and say, I finished writing a book. But if I know people are reading it and being blessed by it, that is, a much better deal for me. And I'm always happy to see that. But you got to get it on that first page. So that's the one thing, is to get discovered. The second thing you want to do with Amazon ads is create associations. What do I mean by that? So whatever kind of book you're doing, there's already going to be other books like it. There's almost nothing that you're going to write that there isn't already another couple books in that same genre telling that same kind of information. So what are they? Find them. Who are your competitions? And then you're going to run Amazon ads for those books. So anytime somebody finds that book, they're seeing an ad for your book. Why do you want to do that? Because do you ever go onto Amazon and you're looking at a book and underneath you see people who bought this book also bought A, B, C, right? You want to be B, or at least C. You want to be there, right? So if you can create those associations, if you can get, somebody's buying this book, which is already selling well, and then they buy your book as well. And if that happens enough, you're going to be on that. People also bought this, and then guess what? That's free advertising. You don't need to pay anymore. Now Amazon is doing the advertising for you. And the third point here is to get in the flow. What do I mean by that? So this is, kind of the way Amazon works is the more sales you have, the more often it's going to show your book. The more often it shows your book, the more chance there are people will buy it. The more chances there are people will buy it, the more sales you're going to have. The more sales you have, the more often Amazon will show your book, right? And so you get into this flow where, if you got the sales, then you can keep these associations. Amazon will show your book on that first page because they know people buy it. They know when people are searching for this, they've bought your book so many times in the past, so it will keep showing it, even if you stop advertising. And you get into that flow. Now, I don't necessarily recommend you stop advertising. It's generally a good idea to always advertise. And, you do need to niche it in to really get a good, return on investment. So simply, for every dollar you're putting in advertising, you're making $3 back, kind of thing. Just let those ads run forever. Just let it keep going, because it's just a gift that keeps on giving. But you know, those are the seeds. You have to do the Amazon ads, because if you don't, it's very, very hard for anybody to find your book, you know. And even if you did everything right, you've got a great title, you've got a beautiful cover, you've written a masterpiece, one of the greatest works since Shakespeare. If you just slap it on Amazon and that's all you do, it's like putting a Lamborghini in the middle of the woods in northern Canada. No one's ever going to find it. You know, every 3 months, some Inuit will come along and go, holy cow, there's an awesome Lamborghini here. And he might buy, you know, that book, but that's about it. And that one sale alone will not be enough to get you in this flow. It will not be enough to get Amazon to recognize that you have an awesome book. So you do have to invest in getting, you know, this kind of kickstarting this engine, winding up this engine, getting it going, so that enough people see your book and buy your book that Amazon knows that it's worthwhile to show your book. So those are the 4 keys to do it. And here's another quote. My wife made this PowerPoint for me, God bless her. So if you don't see the book you want on the shelf, write it. And again, you know, I say, there's something on your heart. If you're here listening to this, there is something on your heart, write it, do it, get it out, put it out. Don't wait till it's perfect. Don't worry about those things. Just get it out there. And, you know, get some help if you need, right? And there's lots of tools out there to help you with all of these things. One of the things that when I was creating this webinar that came to me is really understanding that there is such a need out there. Because I know, you know, it's a big learning curve. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a big learning curve, and it's daunting, and you don't even know where to start, and you don't feel like you're equipped to do it. And so it's really been put on my heart to help, especially Kingdom authors, you know, to really help to get you to have success. And so here's where I'm thinking, because this is all new to me. This is all new to me. And I wasn't planning to do this originally, but you know, the Lord's just kind of put it on my heart that this is something that needs to be done. So what's come to me is I'm going to create a course, everything you need to know about getting a book out, how to put it on Amazon, how to put it on other sites, how to find talent that you need for editing or design, how to do a compelling cover, how to get a great title, how to do the Amazon ads effectively. So, you know, that it's really driving traffic and not costing you an arm and a leg to do it, how to really master SEO simply, and how, you know, how to do all of those things. Because there's a lot of little things, and I get it because I went through it. I learned it all. You know, so, but the other thing too is that just putting together a course isn't enough. It's not enough, because I know a lot of people buy courses with every good intent and they don't do it. I'm going to get to that question about the book number 1. And so why don't people do it? 1, because they need confidence. And so that's one of the fundamentals. So I've got 4 kind of pillars that I'm looking to do. And the first one is confidence. is that if you don't have confidence in what you're doing, if you don't have confidence in your own abilities, if you don't have confidence in what you're putting out, how much effort do you put into it? Do you give it 100%? Do you give that your all? Do you really, do your best work if you're not confident you're going to have any success? No, probably not. You're probably maybe doing 50, maybe doing 8. You're not giving it 100% because you're already bracing yourself for failure, right? So that's the first thing is I want to work with you to help really build your confidence. Keep it really, really simple. Simple little steps that anyone can do, little bits, really break it down so that you don't have this huge thing. It's just tiny little steps that anybody can do. And you'll just step by step, just doing one little step at a time, you're going to get there. And the other thing is coaching. You need somebody in your corner. You need somebody to ask questions to. You need somebody who knows, further along the ladder and knows the game, knows how things work, and is there to support you. And then the fourth one is that it's just in my heart to really support Kingdom authors or authors who really have like really inspiring message that's, the world needs to hear. And so putting that together, and I, again, this is something that I'm just coming up with. And now I don't have this already built out. But yeah, it's going to look like weekly coaching calls. There's going to be a complete course, pretty much everything you're ever going to need to know on how to write a book, get a book out, put it on Amazon, put it on other sites, get it to sell, get to really zero in on who your audience is. All of those, kind of things, where to find people to help you with your book. I do that as well, by the way. And, there's how to do Facebook ads, how to do TikTok ads, how to do other book promotions, how to get your book to #1, how to get awards for your books, how to get reviews for your books, because we all know reviews are like essential, but how do you get them? How do you get people to leave you reviews? There's actually some simple ways to do it. So all of that, my, own community of Facebook group where it's going to be a bunch of authors all supporting each other. And because I'm already involved like in this industry for a while, I know a whole bunch of other publishers and authors and stuff. So I'm going to bring in each month a guest speaker to really narrow in on their particular genre. So, if you are a fiction writer, I know fiction writers, in particular, you guys often kind of feel left out with these programs because they're all focused on, how to make other business with your book. And that doesn't talk to you. So this is for you. And if you are a nonfiction writer and you want to know how to make more money with your book, well, guess what? My wife and I have done that for the last 8 years. We now have a multiple 6-figure business doing exactly that. So if you want to know that, we can teach you that too. But this particular course is for everybody, just on getting your story out, getting your message out, and finding your fans and really building on it. So I am going to take some questions. But does that sound good to anybody? Would you be interested in something like that? So let me see, get some questions here about the editing and proofreading of the book. Do you hire someone professional to do that? Yes, Lisa, always hire a professional editor to go over your book. Because what's going to happen, and I've seen this happen, and it's happened to me, is, you will get, most people don't care. Most people will overlook a few typos, but there are people out there where it drives them nuts, and they will leave a review and they'll get 1-star reviews because you've had too many typos in your books. Don't do that. Always get an editor to go over your book and review it. And now how professional an editor will depend on your budget as good as you can afford, is what I would say. How is it possible to become a bestseller overnight? You see this from a lot of people who've posted, oh my God, I woke up this morning and I saw my book is #1. Okay. There's multiple ways to do this, and some of them are kind of not so legit. Let's put it that way. We just released our new book. It did hit #1 about 2 days after release, but that's because we sold 100 books. And that was enough to send it up to #1 in its category. And 2 reasons we sold 100 books, because I put it on pre-order, and Kathy, my wife, whose book it is, she's got a big list. So she tells her list, my new book is out. Dozens and dozens of people are buying it. And so that is the kind of the legitimate way to drive your book up to #1, is to have a list. And this is part of our business strategy thing, is to have a list, and to do pre-orders. Now, what most people are doing though, and what a lot of people are teaching, and you can do this, I'm not a fan of it personally, but the strategy is you get your book out, you tell all your friends, I'm going to put my book on for 99 cents Saturday morning. And Saturday morning comes, you drop the price of your book down to 99 cents. All 20 of your friends come on, buy your book, and guess what? For 1 hour, you have this #1 tag on your book. And then people will just take a picture of that, and then they'll be bragging, my book's #1, my book's #1. Yes, because your mama and all your friends bought your book when you dropped it to 99 cents. Congrats. You know, and honestly, it is a good tool. And for people who are just trying to use their book to grow their business, and those are the people who are usually trying to do a strategy like that, it's a hack, right? It's a kind of a way to get to that #1, just to say you've done it, and elevate yourself that way. And unfortunately, that is why you see it so commonly. But that's not really the kind of strategies that I teach, because that's not what I'm about. What I'm about is helping you to get your message out to the people who need to hear your message, not selling books to your friends and family for 99 cents, because that doesn't really benefit anyone. Self-publishing seems to be huge. How does one select a publisher? And if an author has more than one book, is it acceptable to use more than one publishing company? So I'm just doing a time check here. We're good. So the answer to that is you don't select a publisher. If we're talking traditional publishers like Penguin, Random House, and stuff like that, you submit your book to, these days, you don't even submit your book to a publisher. You submit your book to a book agent. If a book agent thinks it can sell, he will submit the book to book publishers. And if the book publisher thinks it works for them and it might sell, then most cases, if they like it, they will send it back with stuff they want changed. And then, you make all those changes, you resubmit it. If it fits into their schedule, then they'll give you an advance, and it'll get printed in 2 years. Yes, 2 years, because they've already got books planned. All big publishers, they only do so many books a month or so many books a year. So they'll do, depending on how big they are, 5, 10, 50 books for the year. And they've already got that figured out. So when they get your book, it's going into the next year, some point. So it's very common, 18 months to 2 years before your book actually comes out into the market. Can you use different publishers? Absolutely, happens all the time. But typically, the publisher you publish with first will have a right of first refusal. So they get the first chance to say yes or no to your next book. As far as publishers that you pay to publish your book, don't do it. That's Vanity Press. I never recommend anybody ever use a Vanity Press publisher. self-publishing these days is so easy and so much more affordable. There is no reason to ever use a vanity press publisher, even if they're going to do everything for you. I mean, unless you just have the money and you want the convenience and you're letting them do all the editing and cover design and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you're willing to pay $5, $6, whatever, $1,000 just to have it done. It's an option. But that's just be aware that's all they do, is they're just going to get the book done, ship you a bunch of copies, and that's it. They might put it on Amazon, but they're not doing anything to help you sell it. They're not looking to sell your book. They're looking to make money from you if they're a vanity press. So I don't recommend them. You're better off self-publishing. Yeah, sounds like a marketing line. You know, I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Shelley, at this point. Can you go over the Amazon ad points about Create Associates? Yes, I'll do that. So in the Amazon ads, there's different ways you can structure an ad. And I just want to keep this really simple. But one of the ways you can do it is you can tell Amazon, when people look at these books, show my ad. And so what you want to do is just identify, you know, find who are the best-selling books in, you know, that are like yours. And then you'll go in, you'll create an Amazon ad, and you will tell Amazon, when people are looking at this book, show my ad. So when they have that book up on their screen, on the sales screen, they'll see your book and ad for your book here as well. And commonly, and we tend to forget this because we tend to think, oh, what, they're already buying a book. Yeah, commonly people will buy a whole bunch of books on a subject. You know, if I've got to, you know, fix something, I'll probably buy 2 or 3 books on it. You know, so the fact that your ad's showing up on somebody else's book, yeah, they're probably buying that book, but there's a good chance they might buy your book as well. And that creates those kind of associations. Some authors associate their books with their business. If you don't have a business, and again, this is why I say I know a lot of these kind of book courses that are out there, they're so focused on people who want to do a business outside of selling their book. And again, we do that. That's how my wife makes her money. But if all you're interested in is selling your book, then that's what I'm really creating this course and this coaching for, is to help you sell the book that you have, even if you don't have some kind of back end stuff to make money off of. And I'm not knocking that, because we do it, right? And it's a great business model. And if that works for you, we can teach you how to do it. But if you just want to make money off your books, that's really what this course is going to be about. So you don't need a business. You don't need to have a business at all. You can just sell your books and sell them at a profit. The number one overnight sounds like a marketing ploy. Yes, 90% of the time it's a marketing ploy. And, you know, and unfortunately it's true. And it's really hard. You know, if you're on Facebook and you're seeing my book made #1, it's really hard to determine. Actually, it's not hard to determine. If you really want to know, go on to their book page on Amazon. You'll see if there's still a #1 tag there or not. Probably not. And scroll down and you'll see in the book details, there's a ranking. And you'll see like Amazon ranking, Now, because I'm in this field and I do it all the time and I know what it is, I can look at that Amazon rank and I know immediately if this is a best-selling book or not. And when people say best-selling book, what it means now, it used to mean best-selling New York Times. That's what it used to mean. Now it means it was a #1 in a particularly niche, tiny little category on Amazon briefly. But if you're looking at that rank number, if it's in the 5 digits, so 99.999, it's possible it legitimately hit number one at some point. If it's in the 6 digits or in the 7 digits, yeah, no, it's not really a number one selling book. They just, you know, got their friends to all buy it at the same time for one moment and just, you know, got it for that point, and nobody's been buying it since. And so that's a very easy way to tell, is you look at that Amazon rank number and you can see how high it is. Okay, so that's it for all the questions that I have right now. If anybody else has a question, please feel free to type it in. If you're watching a replay of this, you know, feel free to send an email or hit me up on Facebook. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm going to offer. So this is going to be the basics of the course. Weekly coaching calls live with me every week. You'll have a chance to ask questions just like this, you know, so anything you're trying to figure out or you're not sure of, you can ask me and I'll be able to answer it. I'm going to create a full course on everything you need to know, Facebook group, and I'm going to bring in guest speakers. But wait, there's more. Talk about a marketing ploy. There's one. I'm also going to do bonus programs on how to write your book, how to set up on Amazon, how to set up your own store easily, where you don't have to worry about dealing with taxes and all those kind of things, how to create Facebook ads, how to set up your book on Google. Most people don't realize Google is a big bookstore as well. And I don't know where that just disappeared to. Give me a second here. Oh. Okay. How to set up an Ingram Spark. And Ingram is a big one, especially for Christian authors. You really need to have your book on Ingram, because Ingram can get you into all the churches. Okay, my computer's doing something a little funny here. Here, okay. Is everyone still with me? Somebody give me a, okay. But wait, there's more. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't have time to create a real proper sales page. So this alone, the weekly coaching, the community, and the full course, I will be selling once it's finished for $1,000. That's going to be a $1,000 course. These are all additional bonuses, which are all worth $50 to $100. Are commonly sold for that amount as well. And Chrome is going to crash on me. Okay, well, let's just let that happen. But wait, there's more, because it's going to do each. I have to adapt now. There we go. Right. Running book promotions. So how to do things like, yeah, and you probably have seen this before, get my book for free and just pay for the shipping, or 99-cent book promotion offers, or how to find talent, how to find a good editor and a proofreader and a copy, you know, cover designer and an interior designer, where to source those people, how to get awards. There's a whole bunch of awards that you can apply to and get. How to get reviews, and that, you know, reviews are one of the most fundamental important things for people when they're buying a book. I'm sure when you're looking to buy a book, that's probably one of the first things you look at is how many reviews and what's the score. And this is an area where a lot of authors really struggle, but there's some simple techniques to help you really get some reviews. So we'll cover that. And then there's more and more stuff all the time. I'm going to be constantly building this up because there's always new. TikTok, for example, is a new thing for authors to advertise on. So I'll be doing one for how to advertise on TikTok. And as things change, I'll keep it up to date. So those courses, all these bonus courses that I've just mentioned, not including ones that'll come in the future, the retail price is over $1,000. But because I'm just starting off here, this is a first time offer. I'm just going to be building this with you and creating this for you. I'm going to offer this at a one-time price. This is the only time I'm going to offer it at this price, because it will be going up to $1,000 once it's fully built out. But if you would like to work with me, if you'd like to have a full program full of very simple steps, and helping you not only with the technical aspects, but helping you to keep your mind in the game, because that is the big thing that my wife and I do, is helping people with the mental aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, keeping your heart and staying true to your message. So that's going to be a big component too. If that's something you would resonate with, you can check out the offer at sellmorebooks.blog offer. I'll put it into the thing here. And for those people watching the replay, it is sellmorebooks.blog/offer, sellmmorebooks.blog, BLOG /offer. And that'll take you to my offer page. And again, this one time only is right now. It's going to be $300 to sign up. That's for life. You got access to everything for life. Going to be making this offer again in the future for more, because it'll be more fully established at that point. So I'm going to be doing these live coaching calls every week and bringing in guest speakers and all of that. So if that's something that would of interest to you, check it out, sellmorebooks.blog/offer. And if you do have a nonfiction book that you want to build a business around, my wife and I have done that for the last 8 years, built multiple six-figure business doing exactly that. And her and I will be teaching that together. That's an upsell offer. That's also available for those people who that's where you're at. That's your, what you want to do. You want to learn how to, get that #1 badge, and how to market, how to build up a mailing list, and how to get speaking engagements and coaching and get on the media and all of that stuff. Yes, we will teach you that too. Can the fee be broken up into 2 payments? Yes, that's possible. Message me, Lisa. I'll just have to set that up for you. Does that sound good? Does that sound like a good offer to people? That's something that would help you out and help you to achieve success? Because really that's my heart. And that's really what I'm feeling called to do, really, is to help just the average author, whether you got a fiction book, a children's book, a nonfiction book, whatever that message that's been given to you, to help you to manifest that and get it out into the world, and get it out in a way that it's actually reaching people and making you some money, making you, some residual income that actually means something, more than $20 a month kind of thing. And I can't promise you're going to have a great selling book, because that depends on all kinds of factors I can't directly control. But I can promise you will sell a whole lot more books working with me than you would doing it on your own. And you'll be able to reach a whole lot more people, and your message will get out. And I will help you to get that message out if you haven't got it out already. So sellmorebooks.blog/offer is the page. I would have it up on my screen, but it's died. I'll try to bring it up in the meantime. But does anybody have any other questions? I've got another 10 minutes here for questions. If any questions at all to do with book publishing, writing, or the offer here, just feel free to put in the chat or unmute yourself and just ask away. You can email me at preston@prestonsquirepublishing.com is my email address. So preston@prestonsquirepublishing.com. Okay, you're welcome, Lisa. And again, thank all of you for being on this call or listening to the replay. I really appreciate your time that you've invested both in me and in, helping to make sure that you're achieving your dream and, what's been given to you and what's in your heart. This is your time. Whether you work with me or do it on your own or choose to work with somebody else, get your message out there. Whatever's been put on your heart, whatever story, is there for a reason. Don't let it die with you. Get it out into the world. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't, keep putting it off, because tomorrow, when we keep putting it off to tomorrow, it never comes. And I don't want you to be, like me, really, like me. My wife has 8 books out, and I've still got books that I've had planned for years and I haven't written, and I'm committed to doing them now. And I'm going to be doing them now, and I'm going to be doing them live with you if you're signing up for this training. And I'll be working with you doing my books as you're doing your books, and we'll be helping everybody to succeed as much as possible. So if there's no more questions, you're all welcome. Thank you. I appreciate all the thanks here, and that you felt it was valuable information. So was that helpful? Was that that good value for you? Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, I will be doing this again in the future. But yeah, if you're interested in joining me and doing the coaching, getting live coaching every week and doing the training, this is the only time. And this is not like a sales gimmick, but this is because I am just going to be starting building this out now. It's the only time I'm going to offer it at this rate. So, do jump in now, because next time you see me doing a webinar like this, it will be at a higher price. sellmorebooks.blog/offer. And thank you, Lisa. Thank you, all of you. I appreciate it. And if there's no more questions, I'm going to end this. But it's been great. And I think this was the first time I've ever done a webinar. How'd I do? Was it okay? Good thumbs up? Great. Thank you. Let me just put my email in the box here.
The only thing I had a problem with is the Zoom link for the last 2 emails. It kept saying that you were in another meeting. So I had to go back to the first one that you sent that wasn't highlighted. And I had to copy that. But so maybe there might've been other people trying to get on, but it kept saying you were in another meeting, just so you know for future.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. That was good to know. I probably would have had a whole lot more people here if those links worked. Okay. So first time mistakes. Now I will thank you. So email is in there, preston@prestonsquirepublishing.com. And for those listening, sellmorebooks.blog/offer is the site to sign up to get the coaching training course, confidence from a Christian perspective, because my wife and I were Christian. If you're not Christian and you want to work for us, we're happy to work with you, but we are unabashedly Christian, and that's really our love. So that may not be for you. So that's up for you, but we're open to working with people who have a real message to get out into the world, fiction or nonfiction. So thank you, everybody. Love you, appreciate you so much. Appreciate what you're doing by getting your books out. And I wish you all the best of luck. And I look forward to working with a bunch of you. God bless.